January 9, 2026. My first recording of the new year. And only 2 days ago was when our last visitor left. And I've been able to refocus my energy slightly on getting the cards out, the holiday cards out, dealing with my son's situation and my project. So in this video, I'm going to focus on the project because one of the questions that I went to bed last night with, after having gone to a aerial sling class, one of first of 6, and found myself completely rejuvenated and excited and feeling strong and flexible and able to dance again, realizing I had let that part of me go ever since I did aerial things down in Reno. And I was so excited by doing that last night. It ended at 8:30. I decided to go back today for aerial yoga. And oh my God, it was so fantastic. But the interesting things that happened while there answered my questions around the project, which has been the question, just to put it out there, is how am I working with my team to architect and design a way forward for Incline and University of Nevada, Reno at Tahoe campus to establish a Thrive Town and selfpreneur projects, how to raise the money for those, how to get the people in Incline on board to collaborate and do visioning. And I have hit some walls on that, as we know, over the years. And more recently, in December and November, I had good conversations and ones that would say timing is not right. So I instead began to pivot towards doing video class development, like courses with AI training, which I've signed up for. And it would be for a Selfpreneur Playbook course and a Thrive Playbook for communities to do design work around their Thrive Town. So that was feeling good, and I proposed to my team, to Bill and others, that next week we would have a retreat to really sit down and vision, design how that would look and how they could each contribute their own course, design their own course that feeds into the Selfpreneur portfolio and development system for measuring what is a selfpreneur and what are the 5 levels and how do we help kids accrue the skill sets to build them through the 5 levels. So it was looking good, and then Diane sent something about how Nevada's created a marketplace of exchange between agencies and private providers and nonprofits and etc. And it offers an opportunity to leverage or build off of and model that in the Thrive Town community structure. But today was interesting because I have, as I've said over the past, ran into walls with the district and the local schools and leaders, and how to even invite them to play in this selfpreneur thing, given the current leadership and my particular, we could say faux pas or errors in communication, or just timing wasn't right, that I have not been welcomed into those schools. Even though Lake Tahoe School probably is welcoming, but not as urgently needing it. So anyway, what happened today? I was doing aerial yoga, and I heard a thump behind me, and a woman had fallen, and it was a loud thump. And as I turned, I discerned that it was her head that had hit, and so I was really concerned for her. And I went over and gave her some Reiki while the instructor went and found some ice and snow to apply to her head. After the class, I was speaking with her and the instructor about concussions. She had had a concussion 2 months ago, and that she needs to be really careful and all that. But then we got to talking about her occupation. She wasn't working anymore. She had been a teacher at the Incline Elementary School, 5th grade, and in fact across the hall from another teacher I know who is retiring this year. And this woman reiterated all the things, and almost worse than I had heard before, as far as what's going on at the elementary school with loss of teachers, a dysfunctional leader right now. In fact, one of the teachers she knows did not come back after break, just left with no plan of replacements. And anyway, it's bad. And this woman gave me so much more detail about how bad the system has become. The kids aren't learning to read, yet she's sending them on to middle school unable to read. And they are not doing math at the level they used to. She has grade inflation. Kids aren't interested. They're bored, but then they're being pampered and not being challenged. And anyway, without going into too much detail, I started to share the ideas around the Sandoval Thrive town concept, and then another guy joined in on our conversation who had been working at the reception desk of Tahoe Flow Arts, and he joined in, and we ended up talking for 2 hours, standing, not sitting, just standing there, and nonstop ideation and sharing of our history with education and with working. And he's been in the Air Force, as well as worked for water supply company in California and plastics. He's a woodworker, and he is retired but wants to keep doing work to give back to the community and to kids, and coach and mentor them in woodworking. So we talked about sustainability makerspace. They love the idea because the maker spaces that they have, the elementary and elsewhere, are not actually doing design thinking. So we talked about how the selfpreneur is a design thinker of oneself and one's learning path and one's occupation, especially in the age of AI, and how it will replace higher education ultimately, because you can get yourself trained and developing your creativity, your collaboration, your contribution to the community in a way that is sustainable as a community. So we all were violently in support of each other and the idea that we have to take action. That this woman was such a gentle, well-spoken but gentle and loving. She's like, you know what? I'm ready to take action. This is ridiculous. Things need to blow up. We have to take down the whole White House. Anyway, it was, and he kind of borders on redneck, but he has tattoos all over his body and long braided hair. And he was showing us his tattoo of a mermaid, the goddess of the deep ocean. And he told the story. I just have to share this one story, and then I'll wrap up why this is all so exciting. A girl maybe was 8-9 years old in doing dance at the studio, came up to ask him about his tattoo, this goddess, and he described it, and she pointed to another one. Well, what's that about? And that's where I work in the water company. And she's like, I think you shouldn't work there. That sounds boring. You need to do something more fun. And he's like, you're right. um, and we all realize we need to learn from our young, not suppress our young. And she didn't have any kids or a partner, but she's like, I'm not done helping kids, but I just can't do it in the context of school. And he's like, I need to work with kids, but they're going to be scared of me because I'm a tattooed, looking redneck guy. And I'm like, no, this is exactly what we need. We need you guys retired, but still passionate, with creative, caring, community building instincts and creativity. And we can build this Thrive Town from the bottom up with you in mind and your wealth of experience and passion. That's what this is all about. And so they happily gave me their contact information and looked forward to. We also talked about who could fund it. Oh, by the way, he was a 4-H guy growing up in Denmark and in Southern California, I guess. And so he's excited to revamp the 4-H club to not be about selling and killing pigs and animals, but to get kids into nature and commune with animal life. And then Jeremy Renner, who has been active, as Priya has said, in helping kids through the 4-H program, they both said, oh my God, he would be amazing to get involved. And then we talked about Tom Steyer, who I just learned from the woman that he's running for governor of California. She said he should not. And both of them said, no, we don't need billionaires running our governments. But if he became a sponsor for the Thrive Town of Nevada, because he does have a house in Nevada, then that could certainly be a good use of his energy and time and money. So we had a beautiful communion, creativity. I wrote down copious notes and even recorded, and I will be sharing that with the team and architecting a communication that would be about bottom-up design and commitment, and using these two programs as courses to get people involved. Selfpreneur in parallel with Thrive Community Building Playbook. And then the final thing I wanted to share, this is getting longer, but I am picking up books from the regent of the Nevada System of Higher Education, who lives here in Reno, in Incline. She is now the appointed head of the national community colleges. And she is very busy with that, but she also recognizes that the Selfpreneur and the Thrive Lab concepts are definitely the future. And I'm going to pitch to her the Selfpreneur program and see if she could float it to other communities that she's connected with through her role, not just Nevada, but nationally. And if we can just get a few communities to take up this prototyping experience, and I make it super simple, and scale it to a 3-month effort, so they don't have to commit to a year, and the cost is lower, then I think we can really get some takeoff on this idea and earn some money in the meantime on the programs, on the courses that get built and expanded upon quickly, as people are easily able to create their own courses to align with the Selfpreneur Development Program. All right, I made it just before the 15-minute mark, and I'm just so grateful that when I ask questions of the universe for clarity, I get such profoundly awesome answers. So thank you, universe, and thank you, teammates, for helping make this possible. Bless you.